Hi everyone, delonewolf here and welcome back for some more EVE Online. In today's video I want to talk a little bit about Tech2 production and especially from the perspective of a newer player and a HiSec Care Bear. So before I get started, I do want to say that doing Tech2 production in HiSec is not only pretty difficult and expensive, you're also competing with non-HiSec spaces that have real advantages over you when it comes to Tech2 production. Number one, because they control a part of the production line, which is the reactions that you cannot do from HiSec. That's pretty important. And then number two, if I'm not mistaken, they can get better material efficiencies throughout the process by doing all these activities outside of HiSec. So know that if you want to get into Tech2 production, it's really recommended that you take a look at the entire production line and that you make sure that what you're doing is still profitable at the end. And let's take a look at that. Of course, where you want to end up with is this right here. You can see that I have a Wolf BPC that is up and running. It's going on in detail co-incorporated manufacturing, so you can create Tech2 items in HiSec. It's a part of the other of the earlier process that cannot be done in HiSec. And let's see what it then takes in order to create that. Here is a BPC of a Wolf, and let's go over all the products that are needed. First of all, we have a number of components like the LiDAR sensor cluster, like the ferrite carbide composite armor plate, plasma thruster, etc. If we press show info on those, you can see that these will cost ferrite carbide and fermionic condensates. So these are blueprint originals that you can buy yourself. In fact, I have those ready in the research station right here. You can upgrade them to 10 out of 10. They cost like 5 million ISK, so they're not even that expensive. And what's also important to know on these is that each race has their own unique set. So if we go for manufacturing and research, then to the advanced components, the AMAR have their own set with antimatter reactor units, EM pulse generators, etc. And the ones that I bought is for the Minmatar, deflection shield emitter, electrolyte capacitor, etc. And all of these are potentially needed in Tech2 production. So 5 million a piece, you know, the investment is not that big. And these items, these components up here, can also be created in HiSec. But once we go one level lower, so you need ferrite carbide and fermionic condensates. If we press show info on that, what you need is a ferrite carbide reaction formula. And this is the part of the production line that you cannot do in HiSec. So you're basically stuck with buying the advanced moon materials in order to build the components and then build the Tech2 item. Now this goes even further because you can see here that we need ceramic powder and we need, what is this called? Ferrite alloy. This is yet another reaction blueprint. And then here finally we come to our silicates and or evaporate deposits. This stuff is actually coming from moon mining, from structures on moon that then blow up chunks, and this gets mined directly by our miners. But you can see it's quite a few levels, and all of that is only here in order to get to those components. Another part that you need is morphite. I don't think you can get that from moon mining, so that's another one. If you're doing this from HiSec, you'll have to buy it from the market. And then you've got a PI element as well, which you can produce in HiSec if you want to, of course. And then down here, it's not necessary for everything, but you have the Tech1 version of the item and then some RAM which can also be produced in HiSec. If I press show info on that and put the blueprint in here, you can see that it only costs minerals, so this is perfectly doable in HiSec as well. And overall, yeah, that is the entire chain that you need in order to get to this result. So I basically received a blueprint copy from a viewer here, then I gathered all of these materials. I could make them and go one step lower by buying advanced materials, bought a morphite, bought the PI product, and then I made a rifter, made the RAM because we have those ourselves in manufacturing. Maybe I'll just go over there and show that to you guys. And once you have all of this assembled, you can build your Tech2 item. Estimated value on the inside, 29.6 million. Estimated value on the outside, only 33 million. You can see that with just a couple of bad purchases, this margin is already razor thin. As I've said, you're competing with NOSEC and other spaces that have much better margins on that. So it is very difficult. You'll need to find the right items. I think if you're established, if after you established yourself, you will end up having all of these RAM tech blueprints as well. These cost 365,000 ISK, so that's really not the cost. The components as well. I just bought the Minmatar line, and I'm now going to work on upgrading those. So these are actually in the research station right here. And then of course, to actually get started, let's go from the opposite direction, not from a finished job or from a running job, but if we want to get started, of course, the first thing you want to do is buy the blueprint original of the Tech 1 version. From that one, you create copies, which are these. And then from those copies, if I'm not mistaken, I have some in here as well. Yeah. From those copies, you can go through invention in order to create the Tech 2 blueprint of your choice. So here for that Rifter, I could create a Wolf blueprint or a Jaguar blueprint. Know that there is a success chance tied to this. So it's not like a 100% conversion. You'll sometimes miss your invention jobs, and these then cost data cores and potentially an accelerant if you want to. It's optional, you don't have to, but of course this cheap accelerant is already 20%. Basically what you can do, BPO, spam out BPCs, and then spam invention, get your Tech 2 blueprints up and running. After you have that Tech 2 blueprint, you can of course see what it is that you need. If you're deciding that, okay, this is an item that I want to make, you can start to invest in all of these component blueprints, in the RAM blueprints, and then of course, yeah, from Isaac, you've got no choice. You buy all of the advanced moon materials that are needed for this. You buy the Morphite, you make or buy the PI, then some Tech 1 production as well, Tech 1 variant, make the RAM, all of that together, and you finally have that Tech 2 ship. So it is definitely a big step up in complexity. I would say that this is not for newer players. This is for more veteran players that are trying to get more industry done, that want better margins on their jobs. Although, as I've said from Isaac, very difficult to actually do that. And people that just love managing these types of things. If you have like a good setup where you have the right buy orders for all of the items that you need, and then you bring them all together, you've got your right routine when it comes to your blueprints, and when it comes creating blueprint copies, doing your invention, creating the Tech 1 variants, and then eventually you get into that Tech 2 run, and you can get all of that into a nice cycle, into a well-oiled machine. I can see how this is potentially something that people will enjoy. I'll be honest, for me personally, it's a step up in complexity that is not really worth my time. I'd rather stick with Tech 1, try to find the right items that have even slightly better margins, and then invest my time into exploration or something like that to fund that activity, rather than try to optimize things into Tech 2 production. At least not from Isaac, because yeah, as I've said, there's even more steps with all of those reactions behind all of this that make it even more complex. So there you go, guys. That is a quick overview for Tech 2 production from Isaac. I hope that this can help some newer players out that want to get into it. But yeah, as I've said, and as you can clearly tell, this is pretty damn complex and not always profitable from Isaac. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, I'll see you next time.